The push-up is the one exercise that everyone thinks they know how to do, but actually only about 20% of people are doing it correctly. And my goal with this video is to make sure that you join these 20% of people. This video will be like a mini guide to the push-up in which you will learn everything when it comes to doing push-ups. How to do them correctly, which muscles they train, how to make them easier, how to make them harder, and how your hand placement affects the muscles being worked. Let's start with the muscles that it trains. The muscles being worked primarily in the push-up are chest, triceps and front delts. Now let's talk about how to do the push-up correctly. Start by getting into a high plank with your hands shoulder width apart and your body completely straight. Then lower yourself down until your chest touches the ground and push yourself back up until your arms are straight. Make sure that when you're lowering down, your elbows aren't flaring out and making a letter T with your body. Keep them tucked in by your sides so they form an arrow with your body to avoid any unnecessary injuries. I also don't want to see anything like this. Do I even need to explain what I'm talking about? Perform the movement slowly and with full range of motion. Stop trying to chase a higher rep count because your reps don't matter if none of them count. The best way to learn the correct push-up form is to film yourself doing push-ups and then compare yourself doing push-ups to me doing push-ups. And if you see any difference, correct it immediately. But what if you're not strong enough to do a push-up? What if whenever you lower yourself down to the ground, it feels like you're fighting for your life to stay above the ground, not even talking about pushing yourself back up? Are there any easier progressions? Of course there are. That's the beauty of calisthenics. Every single calisthenics exercise is adjustable to your fitness level. It's just like picking up a 10-pound dumbbell at the gym when you realize that you can't pick up a 20-pound one, except it's not as simple, which actually is something that I find beautiful. The first method of making push-ups easier is doing them on your knees. And you have probably seen girls at your school do push-ups like this, but don't get discouraged because everyone has to start somewhere. Get into a high plank on your knees and make sure that your body, from your knees to your shoulders, is completely straight. Then lower yourself down until your chest touches the ground and push yourself back up until your arms are straight. The second method of making push-ups easier is elevating your hands and doing incline push-ups. Find a chair, for example, put your hands on it and do push-ups. Just remember that the higher the surface, the easier the push-ups will be. So as you get stronger, move on to lower and lower surfaces until the surface that you're doing push-ups on is the ground. The third method is doing push-ups with a resistance band. Tie the band on a bar, put it around your stomach and do push-ups. Just remember that the thicker the band or the higher the bar that you're tying it on, the easier the push-ups will be. And the fourth method is just doing the eccentric part of the push-up, which is called the negative push-up. Get into a high plank and slowly lower yourself down to the ground. Get back up into a high plank and repeat. Now let's talk about how you can make push-ups harder, because if you want to get stronger and build more muscle, then you need to find a way to give your body the necessary stimulus to adapt. And as a beginner, it's easy. Just do more reps. If you can do 6 push-ups, the next workout do 7 push-ups and you will progress. But there will come a point where you will be able to do 40 push-ups in a single set, and doing more reps will just lead to diminishing returns. Because doing that many reps of an exercise in a single set trains your endurance more than your strength, which probably isn't something that you necessarily want. You need to stay in the 5 to 15 rep range and train close to failure to continue to build muscle. And to do that, you will need to find some exercises that are more difficult than the push-up, or some methods that you can make push-ups harder, which I'm going to show you right now. The first method is super straightforward, adding extra weight. Fill up your backpack with books, water bottles, weight plates, or anything else that you can find, and do push-ups with this backpack. The second method is doing diamond push-ups, which are just like regular push-ups, but your hands are close together like this, forming a diamond shape. For me, the diamond shape is quite uncomfortable for my wrists, so I just hold my thumbs together like this. The third method is increasing the range of motion, and my favorite way to do this is to use parallettes. They elevate your hands a few centimeters off the ground, which means that your body can go deeper than your hands, which results in a larger range of motion. Another method of increasing the range of motion is doing push-ups on 2 chairs, while your feet are elevated as well. Here you can go really deep. The fourth method is doing explosive push-ups. Here you are generating much more force in order to push yourself off the ground, which makes the push-up much more challenging. But please make sure to control the negative. Don't just fall down to the ground. The fifth method is leaning a bit more forward, which will shift the focus more to the shoulders and will make the push-up more difficult. But before doing this exercise, make sure to turn out your hands, because doing it like this will be much more comfortable. Also remember that the more you lean forward, the harder the exercise will become. So at the beginning, start off with a small lean and then work your way up from there. The sixth method is cutting off one arm. Okay, that's a bit extreme. Putting it behind your back will do. This exercise is called a one-arm push-up, and as you can see, I'm really struggling with it because I haven't trained it at all. The seventh method is doing push-ups with a resistance band on your back. Put both of your hands inside of the band, put the band on your back, and do push-ups. Just remember that the thicker the band, the harder the push-ups will be, so choose a band that's appropriate for your fitness level. The 8th method is doing them on gymnastic rings, because the rings are super unstable. At the beginning, you can do them with the rings turned inward and your arms resting on the straps, but eventually you should turn the rings outward, because your arms will not be resting on the straps anymore, and this will make the push-up much more challenging. Now let's talk about how your hand placement affects the muscles being worked. If you put your hands in front of your shoulders, you will mostly work your triceps. If you put your hands in line with your shoulders, you will mainly work your chest. And if you put your hands behind your shoulders, you will mainly work your shoulders. And in general, shoulder width and narrow grip push-ups are better than wide grip push-ups. So choose the shoulder width or narrow grip instead of the wide grip. And that's about everything that you need to know when it comes to doing push-ups. I know that there are a ton of different push-up variations out there, but I didn't include them here because I just don't think that they're worth your time, except if you want to show off. I really hope that this video was useful to you, and if it was, I would really appreciate it if you left a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below your thoughts, any questions, or any video suggestions. And have an awesome day. Peace!